He picked Tooth. It's a first.
He picked Warglaves of Azzinoth. It's a first. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Runeterrable Radio. I am Blevins. With me, as always, is Saucy Mailman. What's up?
Hey, what's up, dude?
Oh, for anyone who's new, despite the fact that we made two references to two different games, neither of those are the one that we're going to be talking about.
And that's how you know you're listening to Runeterrable Radio.
That is true. That is exactly how you know you're listening to Runeterrable Radio. We're going to be talking about Legends of Runeterra for, I don't know, another hour or so.
I think we are tonight.
I think that's what we're talking about. We've got a lot to talk about because we actually got stuff, Saucy. We've got actual stuff that came out,
Not
which
only
is
do we
awesome.
have stuff, but we have a lot of stuff.
We sure do have a lot of
even
stuff
more.
in terms of content, in terms of just goodies to talk about. So we're going to jump right into that. But before we do, got a little bit of housekeeping, as is tradition. We've got some brand new patrons coming in this month over at patreon.com/Runeterrable Radio. We got Timoshi in at the $10 level, Brian Y at the $10 level, and Mr. Pug Ugly coming in hot with the $50 Dumbo. I don't know why I said Dumbo. That's not a thing. That's
I like
not
Dumbo.
a thing. The $50 Dumbo. No one's ever said that.
Dumbo.
The $50
With the
Dumbo. Come on,
first.
come on, see the $50
It's the
Dumbo.
first.
It's
Yep.
a first. If it's not a first, it's an eighth. I was born to be a either a carny or a popcorn salesman at professional sporting events. That's what my dream has always been.
Maybe both? Can you
yeah.
do both at the same time?
Yeah, I mean, you can sell popcorn at a carnival for sure. And also be a town crier. I feel like that's my calling, but unfortunately, pandemic, etc. I have to settle for doing esports stuff instead. But thank you, everyone, over at the Patreon. We're actually coming up. We got to do another off-topic episode coming up, so we will certainly be doing that. If you are a patron, of course, you have access to both. I think we did too. Yeah, both of our off-topic episodes. But if you're a lowly pleb, that's not a problem. The first episode is out for your listening pleasure, and we'll be releasing the second one once we record our third one for the patrons. So again, you can head over to patreon.com/Runeterrable Radio and support us there. We actually had a couple of ideas of some stuff that we wanted to do. So we're still working on it. But if you have any ideas of, cool things you'd like to see us do in regards to the Patreon or anything else you'd like us to see.
You want like an all Aphelios tournament where every deck has to have Aphelios?
Ooh. Yes, it's nothing but Aphelios, and you win. Ooh, okay. The only way you win is by casting 50 weapons. That's the only win condition. Your deck can have anything you want in it, but you need to cast 50 moon weapons, and that's how you win.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it.
I also like that.
So if you want to see us do something like that, let us know in the Discord, discord.me/Runeterrable Radio. Also, just join the Discord if you haven't already. It's the best place to be.
Or else you stink.
It's
poopy.
It's as easy as that. Speaking of stinking, Saucy, we did not stink because we were on we did a charity event with Janky LoR. I know a lot of people in the community know of Janky and what they're doing in the LoR community. Had myself, Saucy, and some other content creators on the Twin Suns podcast and Mystic Shot podcast. Yeah. And then Janky, of course, hosted their charity event. It was a really fun to do, but we did a little trivia show, Saucy. It was a podcast v podcast v podcast.
Yeah, it was really cool. Yeah, it was a podcast, like game show, trivia show showdown where we all answered a bunch of ridiculous, crazy trivia questions. And of
Yeah,
course, you all know Blevins and I are just the most knowledgeable people on the entire planet.
true.
So we did win,
We
not
did.
even close.
Yeah,
Not
we
even
won
close.
by at least 1 point.
At least 1 point,
Yeah.
and which is everyone knows, first is first.
First is for it's a first. It
It's a
literally
first.
was a first. Yeah, that was super fun. Definitely. I'm sure Janky probably has the VOD somewhere, either on their Twitch
Yeah,
or
I'm
YouTube.
sure.
Make sure you check that out. And yeah, if you can, show your support to the charity, which was really great. So
Yep.
awesome to see folks doing that sort of stuff. Love doing collaborations with other folks in the community, and it was a really cool event for a good cause. So we're happy
Yeah,
to
there
do
was
it. And
some of the questions are crazy. Like, I
yeah.
think one of my favorite was, so out of all of the champions in the Shadow Isles,
Yes.
if you added them all up, how many legs do they have combined?
that was a premium quality question.
Now, it was some of them weren't, so there were varying degrees of difficulty.
Yeah.
But so Blevins and I were original Legends of Runeterra boomers since we've
True.
been around since before the start,
True.
and some of them were like questions about in like pre-beta and things, and those are the
Yes,
ones we
things
got
that
the
I
easiest.
forgot. Well, that like I literally like there's a question about cards that what was it? It was something like I don't remember what it was, but Precious Pet was the answer. It was the old
Oh
Precious
yeah,
Pet.
it
And
originally when you played it, the next unit that
right.
enemy the unit got played got stunned.
Yes, I literally forgot that Precious Pet did that. That was so long ago. Like I completely forgot that. That was like pushed out of my mind. So that was cool. Yeah, no, Janky. I got to give massive props to Janky, not only for running a cool event for a good cause, but the questions there were primo, and I, have written many an episode of Streamer Showdown and have written on many episodes there, and coming up with good and interesting questions for things like that is not easy. So
So tough.
shout outs to Janky there. Yeah, no, the Shadow Isles champion legs question was a great one.
So good.
And of course, Twin Sons nailed that one. Like that was like one of their easier ones. Like they were right
Off
on
the bat,
top of
too.
it.
They didn't even think.
Yeah.
It was just like done.
Like, okay, Hecarim 4, Elise 8, Nocturne 0 because he's like a wisp. It's like, wow, I would have
It's like,
gotten.
man, that's smart.
I would have gotten on at least one of those three. Like, so yeah, that was cool. Definitely make sure you check that out and check out all of their content. But Saucy, we got new stuff. We got
It's a
brand
big
new
week.
stuff. Yeah, it is
So
a big one.
Riot Games, they're the ones who make this game. If you didn't know, they didn't make Legends of Runeterra. So
Oh, right.
yeah, that probably clears things up. So we knew we were getting Sad Moon Boy Aphelios this week, but then the day of the patch notes, they just blindside everyone and release a crap ton of new cards in a
Yeah.
cinematic with really good music on their
Really
Twitter.
good. Yeah. Yeah.
So they just like out of nowhere, like, oh, here, have like I don't know what 15 new cards or something.
Let's see. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, 13 new
Yeah.
cards outside of Aphelios and Aphelios' moon weapons and Aphelios' champion spell. So outside of all that, we just got 13 brand new cards, which is just awesome.
Yep. And then we have that to talk about. We have Sad Moon to talk about, and we also got patch notes with
Yes.
a bunch of changes as well. What do you want to talk about? New cards, patch notes, or Sad Moon Boy?
Let's talk about Let's
And
talk.
that's the show.
Yeah, that's it. We're just going to spend the next 23 minutes talking about what we want to talk about. Let's go with new cards, mostly because I have them up in front of me right now.
Cool.
So like you said, we got 13 new cards. We got more Targon cards than others for what I would believe to be obvious reasons. This is the Aphelios expansion, which is cool. I'm going to stop there because we really didn't know. There was no precedent, obviously, for what this would be, right? This is essentially a new type of release than we've gotten, right? We obviously got the initial, essentially beta release of cards, then we got
Yep.
a full set in Rising Tides, and then we've had the mini sets for Cosmic Creation, or for Monuments of Power, and then we got KDA. This
Yep.
is outside of that, and this is something that I don't think was even when we initially, like last year, got the when we got like the roadmap of releases. This type of a release was not talked about. I don't think.
No, yeah. I mean, I know it came as a surprise to most people that they're just like, oh, here's a bunch of new cards all of a sudden. So
Yeah,
it's really cool. It is like a mini. It's like not an event, but it is kind of like an event. It's like an Aphelios event.
right. And we are getting well, it's kind of an event, but it's just like a login for 7 days and you can
Yeah.
get the cards, but you can also just get the cards now, which is cool. It is like an Aphelios event in that sense, but it's not as fully fledged as the like the Spirit Blossom from the
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
event side,
It's not as
right?
like structured.
Right. Yeah.
With like yeah,
Which
all the things.
is
So
which is
let's
cool.
talk about these because
Yes.
as when I don't know if anyone's noticed this, but when any new card is revealed, they always go through this life cycle. And I saw the morning of this release on Discord was one of the best times I've had watching Discord. I didn't chime in at all. I let it just kind of evolve. I think every single card went through broken, unplayable, decent, every card. Like there's arguments for all of it, and it
Yeah.
makes me really happy. So let's
Yeah.
talk about first card. It is the Flight, 1 mana, 2/1 Targon, friend with elusive and has Nexus Strike. Draw one and shuffle me into the top 3 cards of your deck.
Yeah. This one is very interesting to me.
Super interesting.
Um I mean, I see 1 mana, 2/1 elusive, and I'm already my mouth is salivating. This is exactly what I want.
Yeah, and it's
Um,
also like it's strangely kind of like a cantrip in a way because like it does replace itself because you play it and then you
yeah,
also draw one when it strikes. Yeah,
it,
it's a cool design. I'm gonna give it that.
yeah, it's a lot like what was the not retrace? Well, there was a magic ability. It was from like Cons of Tarkir or like one of those like that era of set where it's like you can pay
Oh,
you can like
yeah,
pay
yeah,
extra mana and it comes into play, then it goes back to your hand. Like it's
yeah.
haste or something. I don't. I
It was
can't
there was
remember.
not ninjutsu.
No, no, no.
Whatever.
This is way after ninjutsu. There was like a
Yeah,
2 mana. There was like the playable card I'm remembering was like a
because there
one
was like a
mana.
dragon
There was a
with it also.
dragon for sure, but there was also like a one. It was a 1 mana 2/2 that like attacked every turn, but you could pay
Oh
two
yeah, 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 yeah.
mana for the 2/2, and then it would bounce to your hand. Or maybe I'm thinking of that backwards. I don't remember, but
No, no, no. I think you're right. You could,
maybe I am thinking of it
yeah, I think
backwards. But
if you paid more, it bounced to every time, but it essentially got haste.
yeah, I can't. God, I can't
It
remember.
kind of feels like that effect, yeah.
Where it's like you pay like because like it's kind of like a lava spike for 2 damage, like a 2 mana or 1 mana 2 damage to face, right? Because like that's what you're
Yeah.
paying for, and then it goes back into your deck. It kind of replaces itself,
Yeah,
kind
and
of.
so it crushes the vanilla test because it's a 1 mana 2/1 elusive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very good stats wise. It's I guess it's just gonna come down to I'm on the fence about this because I'm unsure if this effect is good or not.
Yeah, well, I think you want it in a if I look at this as a spell, right? Like as a 1 mana deal 2 damage to your opponent's nexus with this ability, all of a sudden I feel like this card is a lot better. I mean,
Yeah.
it is worse than that card would be, right? Because you can obviously kill it. It can be blocked by elusives, it can be hushed, etc. But if you look at it like that, this seems like it's okay, but it also would only go in a certain type of deck, right? Like you want it to go in an aggressive deck. This is a very good Nightfall enabler as a 1 mana spell. It's aggressive. I
Mhm.
mean, imagine the turn. Like this is another aggressive, evasive 1 mana unit that can be paired in Nightfall with Stygian Onlooker. Like,
Yeah.
imagine going flight,
Yeah.
onlooker, or like flight, on, like, for very cheap, you're doing a lot of damage, right?
Hmm.
And it does replace itself. And then you can draw it again, right? Like, that's the kind of the beauty of it. I'm wondering if also, maybe this can go in like a Kinku Elusives type of deck, because like it's a one mana
One
unit
minute.
that gets pulled from Kinku, not Kinku
Lifelinker.
Life, not Kinku
Yeah, you can
Lifeblade,
maybe
but
play this in the because I was playing that Kinku Zoe deck.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So long story short, I think it has potential for sure. I think kind of like a lot of these cards, and also like Aphelios himself, there is more depth than meets the eye, and it's
Yes.
certainly not a straightforward like, oh yeah, this card's good, let's just put it in X deck. This is like, I gotta kind of think about this, and it kind of goes in Nightfall,
Yeah.
and like maybe it
Yeah,
goes in
there's a
like
lot of
a,
cards like that, especially from this mini set, but,
yeah.
there's so many cards in Runeterra as a card game in general, where, like, I just have to play with the cards before I know if they're good or bad, whereas in
Mm-hmm.
Magic, I can look at a card, read the text, and be like, "Oh, yeah, this card's bad," or "This card's
Yeah,
good." This game is just, it just works a little differently.
it does. And like, is there like a, I mean, there already is, right? There's already been like a tier 2 Noxus Targon aggressive deck. Like maybe this
Mhm.
goes in that, or again, like I feel like a Targon Ionia like Zed based elusive deck has been like almost there, and maybe this can push it over the top. I don't know. Really cool card though for a 1 mana spell. Or 1 mana unit. I'm really liking it.
Yep, yep, I agree. Let's do I don't like the order that this
Okay.
infographic's in. Let's do all the Targon cards first and
Okay.
then circle around.
Yes. Okay. So the next one here is the Sky Shadows. 2 mana, 3/1. When I'm summoned, refill 2 spell mana if you behold a Nightfall card. So pretty straightforward Nightfall theme enabler here.
Yeah, it's
Um,
pretty cool.
it is definitely cool. Obviously, first thing that comes to mind is Pale Cascade, because it not only triggers this, but also can be cast off of it. But as we'll go over in the patch notes in a little bit, Pale Cascade did get nerfed to +1/+1 instead of +2/+1. Um, so yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one. 2 mana, 3/1 has like, it's certainly the stat line that it would need to be to make it enticing, but I can't. I'm trying to think if there's a 2 mana, 3/1 that has actually been played that's relevant. I can't think of one. There might be.
Oh
But
yeah, I don't know.
like
I don't love it. I think the card's just okay.
yeah, 2 mana, 3/1 when it's, I mean, it has that kind of combo ability, but once it's in play, it's just a 2 mana, 3/1, which is just kind of meh. Avaros and the the Freljord one that freezes is a 2 mana, 3/1 that gets played. I'm thinking of that one,
Yeah,
but
but
that
it
has
has
a
a
really
pretty
good
good
ability.
effect.
That
It's a
card is
pretty good
way
effect.
way better than this one. But I mean, they're clearly like pushing some sort of Nightfall,
Yeah.
with Aphelios, right? I mean, this does combo with Aphelios. You can cast the
Yep.
one of the moon weapons with this, but is it worth the deck cost of having a vanilla 2 mana, 3/1 in your deck is the real question that you have to ask
Yeah,
yourself.
probably not when you can be playing Starbone.
Yes. Starbone
So
is,
Starbone has like one, it's just one of the best cards ever made for flavor alone,
yeah,
and the artwork's great. 2 mana burst spell. If you behold the messenger, grant celestial allies everywhere +1/+1.
yeah. I mean, this is like, when I saw this, I'm like, this is an uncard. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
this is basically an uncard. Like, if this
yeah.
card were printed as it is in Magic, this would be an uncard. It would like create an emblem that gives all celestial creatures +1
Yeah.
+1 if you have it. Yeah.
It
Uh,
is. I love this card. Like, so it's probably bad. Let's get that out of the way. But
Probably
um,
bad. Yeah.
I love. I don't know if you've ever played the. There was a Twisted Fate Messenger deck that you played all of
I've never
the
played
one
it.
mana. whatever it's called, and then like you use those
Yeah.
to draw cards.
Yep.
Yep, this goes in that, and then it's tier 1.
I mean, I do on the one hand I do like that like the tribe that that Targon is getting is not just celestials but specifically the messengers,
Yeah,
which is hilarious, but I am quite sad that we didn't get any more Elnuks or Yeti
that'll be
synergies.
the next expansion is nothing but Elnux.
I mean, I'm hoping sand.
Shurima Elnux.
I feel like Elnuks, there could probably be sand Elnuks. I would
Mhm.
imagine you could make that. That's
Why
not
not?
that big of a jump, I don't think.
Yeah, like camels and stuff, they're basically Elnux.
Yeah, they're like less hairy Elnuks.
Mhm,
Maybe
mhm.
I don't know. The Riot, make it happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, Starbone is perhaps a half a step higher up than a meme, but it's a good one.
yeah.
If even if it is just a meme, it's a good meme.
Yep.
Okay, things that I don't believe are memes. The Fangs, 4 mana, 3/2 lifesteal, play, invoke a celestial card that costs 3 or less, aka super cool star chart, or uh, not Sparkleologist. What's the other one?
Oh,
1
Spacey
mana,
Sketcher.
Spacey Sketcher. Yeah, I mean this one, more lifesteal units in Targon makes the makes the aggro decks kind of cry a little bit, but this one
Uh-huh.
at least like only has 2 health, which is nice.
Yeah,
Um,
it's so the all of the invoke Targon decks that have been going around that are very powerful. There's
mhm.
the Demacia version that uses
Yep.
Plaza, and then there's the SI version that doesn't. Like a lot of times in the mid game, that you know 3 to 6 area mana turns are a little
Mhm.
wonky, and this one fills that out perfectly, and
Yeah.
is two a thing that helps you survive longer by blocking and gaining you life. It seems very good, and it's giving you celestials because the whole deck
Yep.
is revolving around Invoke. It's
Mhm.
pretty good.
Yeah, this one, I mean, eh, we've had Zoe for how long now? Like we understand the value of the, 0, 1, 2, or 3 cost celestial. Like those are quite good, right? This obviously generates that for free, which is quite nice. Obviously Solari Sunforger is the first card that comes to mind as a comparison. It has lifesteal, it costs the same amount of mana. Stats are obviously much worse on the Fangs,
Mhm.
but Solari Sunforger, like in the matchups where, like in the like very aggressive matchups, I would argue you would want Sunforger more.
Yes.
In the matchups where, in the matchups or the builds of deck where you're running Grand Plaza, which again we'll get to in a bit, but also got nerfed. But in the builds where you're running Demacia or Grand Plaza, probably want Sunforger instead of this, especially with the new Grand Plaza. But I think just in general, without thinking about matchup, just across the board, if I was playing on ladder, I'd probably lean towards the Fangs over Sunforger. Um,
Yeah, it's good value too.
it's really good value. Some matchups you just don't need the lifesteal, and like a 5/4 for 4 mana is like, if you're just playing that as a vanilla card, not that exciting. It's really not. And also, the Fangs can gain you more life. If you're able to clear the way for it, it always has life steal. It's not just uh,
On play.
on play. It's forever essentially, right? So, yeah, I mean, I really like the Fangs. It is playing into, it's generating additional cards for Zoe. It's generating Celestials. It's giving you more options. I mean, I think this is a really good card, and like outside of Aphelios himself, and like I think maybe 1 or 2 of these cards will like be very, very high play in specific decks, but just like across the board, this might be the best card in this release.
Yeah, it's really
Um,
good.
at least like at a base level, that's my guess. Is the Fangs is the maybe not the strongest, like the highest ceiling, but I think just like the in terms of raw power level, might be the most powerful card in this expansion.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
All right. Another one. This one I've seen the full gambit on, Saucy. This is the Veiled Temple, 4 mana. This is a not monument. Why do I keep wanting to call them monuments? Because the set is
Landmark.
called Monuments of Power. The 4 mana landmark. Each round, the first time you play 2 other cards, refill 2 mana and grant your strongest ally +1/+1. What do you think about this one, Saucy?
I think it is pretty cool. I like the effect. It reminds me kind of a bit like Scar Grounds. It's sitting there
Okay.
and buffing up stuff over time. I it's tough because I feel
Yeah.
like in the decks you want to play this in and you want this effect in, the Nightfall decks have typically been pretty aggressive
Yep.
decks,
Yep.
and spending 4 mana to do nothing kind of feels bad.
Yep.
You need to get a lot of value to make a 4 mana play worth it like that.
Yeah. You basically, if you break it down in its simplest form, it's a 4 mana investment, which means you need to trigger its ability 2 times, like not counting the +1/+1, because I think that's kind of whatever. You need to trigger the ability 2 times to pay for itself, right? Um, and essentially what it's doing is giving you additional mana on a following turn.
Mhm,
So it's working kind of like banking spell mana in a way, because you're like, essentially, if you treat this 4 mana as you're banking this 4 mana, and then you can, in increments of 2, do a little bit of work to get that back on a later turn.
mhm.
That's kind of how I'm thinking of it. Now, is that effect good? It's tough. 4 mana seems a
Very
little
tough.
steep on this. This also, and I'll say this now. This is the type of card that I very well and would not be surprised if I saw this as completely broken or completely unplayable,
Yeah.
or anywhere in between. Honestly, like, this is a
Yeah.
very hard card to evaluate without playing it and like having a deck built around it. Because like, if you go, if you play this on, let's say you bank 3 spell mana going into turn 4, you play this, you play 1 mana spell, 1 mana spell, you get 2 mana, then you can play a 2 drop. And if that 2 drop is the Sky Shadows, you can get uh 2 more spell mana. And like, but what is the payoff, I guess, is the question. Is it just like playing a bunch of a bunch of more like cheap spells? I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like this it guess it just depends on how strong the decks this goes in is because I don't think this
Yeah.
even fits in any of the like Nightfall aggro decks.
No, I
Um,
don't see it in Nightfall aggro at all.
but it could be decent in like if you're trying to play like even dragons or anything more mid-range. I think it seems like a pretty good mid-range card, or even something with like Heimerdinger because spell mana.
Yeah.
Um, like yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's tough.
Heimer Aphelios, maybe.
Oh
Could
yeah.
do
All right.
that. Yeah, because
I'm
especially
in.
since like you play 1 spell and it will automatically trigger if you have Heimer out, right? Because you're getting the bot.
Hmm.
Huh. Interesting. Maybe it very well could. You need to have a deck that can take the tempo hit of. It needs to be able to take the tempo hit of spending 4 mana to do actually nothing, and also be able to recoup the advantage in some way of getting that, that 2 mana on a later turn. I mean, the +1/+1 is whatever. And maybe that ends up being super relevant, but like granting +1/+1 is just that almost seems like a throwaway effect to me.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's one I'll definitely want to keep an eye on because it's such an interesting card, and I feel like its power level could be from 0 to 100, and I don't know
Yeah.
where it sits.
Yeah. Okay,
But
what about the
yeah,
Cloven
the
Way, Blevins? It is a
Cloven Way.
5 mana, 5/4 overwhelm with Nightfall, stun an enemy. If it's a follower, stun it again at the next round start.
Yeah, so has the same ability as I think that was the one we called Fish Guts. The Fish
Yeah,
Guts.
something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what its real name is, but it's Fish Guts now. Um, yeah, this one, I'm not a big fan of it.
Expensive.
It's very expensive. Nightfall. Inherently you want to be casting multiple cards, right? So at minimum, I guess you could have a 0-cost spell, but like you need to have bank spell mana and then play this. I mean, this effect is quite good and it can be quite aggressive, right? Like you think if they play a big unit and you're able to stun it, with the Cloven Way, like an arachnoid, like an expensive arachnoid sentry, you at least get the ability to also play on offense as well and attack with that. Kind of traditionally how like frostbite effects would work in Magic,
Mhm. Yeah.
where it's like end of turn tap your guys, or like before combat tap your guys. They don't untap, and I attack, and you actually get that sort of effect, which is kind of cool. But for 5 mana, it seems a little expensive. This card feels like it would always be a one of. Like it just feels like a one of card. I can't imagine you're gonna want too many more than that. Um, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not seeing it.
it's interesting.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like we've seen what are the expensive Nightfall cards, right? It's Cygnus, right? We see him.
Big dragon.
Eclipse Dragon we see a lot, but it's not because of the Nightfall that we see Eclipse Dragon
Because
necessarily.
that card's real good.
It's because it's real good. Um,
Um,
and then Dusk Rider or whatever we never see
yeah, we don't see
put
that.
index, right? So yeah, I'm not. I mean, I think this could be a one of. I mean, maybe in Saucy cover your ears. Maybe this could be a Yasuo deck. Uh, I mean, that's what they showed in the video, right? Is this what the? I mean, this is 2 stuns for Yasuo. I mean, that seems about as good as you would expect it to be a Yasuo deck. Yeah,
All right, I'm
I'm not
back.
seeing it.
I'm back.
I'm not seeing it. So that's all the Targon cards. We also got, I think it's what, one of every region, right? One of every
We
other
we
region.
did just a little smattering of some other fun
Is a
stuff.
nice
So let's talk
smattering.
about another very interesting
Yeah.
card that I've also seen the gambit on: stress testing. Piltoveran's on 1 mana burst spell.
Yep.
It is remove a fleeting from all cards at hand, and when I'm discarded, draw 1 fleeting.
Yeah. Very unique effect. I mean, we literally have only seen this effect in labs, right? Like, uh, the in the I don't even remember what the name of the lab is, but like it has the you can pay one mana spell that can remove fleeting from a card. Um, I mean the ultimate for this is Living Legends, right? Like cast Living Legends, cast stress testing,
Yeah,
like.
yeah, that's getting gross.
Yeah, that's gross. I mean, on a slightly more realistic note, pick a card seems like it could be pretty good there.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
there's a lot of cute fleeting stuff you can do in Piltover and Zon,
yeah,
and just more good discard synergy in the region is good as well.
yeah. I'm wondering. I mean, the first thing that comes to mind for me, mostly because I've been playing the deck a lot, is TF Fizz.
Yeah,
And I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if I want this card in that deck. The problem is that you need to cast it to get the first ability, which is fine. But like then you don't get to draw the card. And then if you want to draw the card, you have to discard it. So you have to be playing enough discard cards to play it, but then also like in
it's
discard
really good with
aggro,
rummage.
it can be for sure. But like it's effectively kind of expensive at that point, right? Because like you have to play the fleeting card that turn, you have to play the third card drawn that turn. So it,
Yeah, it's Ambam in chat says, but you can rummage 2 of them.
that is
Bro,
true.
4 cards. TF's gonna level up so fast.
I mean, that is nothing to be scoffed at. That is certainly legitimate, but like, we've seen some like even more than the Fizz TF deck, like Turbo TF, where it's like just trying to level up TF, and this would certainly go in a deck like that. But you know, I don't know. The problem is that this would be replacing another card. That's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
Is this effect fine in a TF Fizz deck? Yeah. That's not the question that's relevant, though. It's like, is it better than Mystic Shot? Is it better than Parlay? Is it better than Aftershock, etc.? And I don't know the answer to that.
Mhm.
What I do know is like it does a kind of a very narrow thing. The actual cast ability of it is extremely narrow, right? So I'm not sure. What I will say is that this is one of those like really cool cards that like every single time a new fleeting card comes out or a card that creates fleeting cards, like, ooh, what kind of crazy stuff can we do with stress testing?
Yeah. I think it's a cool. I like the effect. The effect alone, I enjoy it existing in the game.
Yes,
So
yes,
I'm happy for that, if nothing else.
that is true. Um,
How
this,
about how about this one? This is another one that's
yeah,
just been either people think is unplayable or broken. Troll gifts. 2 mana burst spell. Grant an ally regeneration. If they already have it, grant them +2/+2 instead.
yeah. I really like this card
I do
actually.
too.
Have you met Brom? Like that's the
That's what I was gonna say.
no, that's the first thing that comes to mind. Like that's just like super good for Brom. But even outside of Brom, like granting regeneration is really good. Like it's one of the more annoying things to play around is regeneration. I mean, remember Trundle? Anybody remember having to play against Trundle when he was a 4/6? You can just make any one of your 4/6s a Trundle with the troll gifts.
hmm I mean, think about giving Teemo regeneration.
True though, true.
So
Um. Oh yeah, Chad is saying broadback protector. Yeah, I mean that's true. Regeneration works really well with Soraka. Whew. I mean that is actually no meme. That actually is pretty sweet because like we've seen Soraka Tom be at least a tier 1.5 deck, if not arguably tier
mhm,
one,
yeah,
kind of niche tier one, but at points in time certainly very powerful. Um, but we really haven't seen either of them outside of that specific deck in any sort of successful way, and this could open up a potential like Braum Soraka type of deck to really actually do something, right? This is a aggressively costed card, 2 mana burst spell cheap. It's got all the things going for it. It's cheap, it's burst, it says grant on both sides of those,
yeah.
which is great. Like,
This could also work in the all of these like Vladimir type decks or like the
yeah.
Noxus like Battle Scars type decks.
Yep.
Um, Not necessarily with Vladimir because he's not a card that exists, but
He's
I know
trash,
things with like
unfortunately.
giving Swain regeneration isn't that bad.
True.
Um, yeah, there's like a lot of cool stuff you can and giving Teemo regenerations. I'm gonna keep circling back to that.
I mean, true, honestly. Yeah, I mean, this is I like troll gifts. I think it's actually a real card. Like a lot of these, and I do like this theme in general, where it's like it's a powerful card, but you kind of have to build around it, or at least have builds in mind. I like it. Although troll gifts, like you could reasonably play it just like as just troll gifts, as just 3 troll gifts and nothing else. Probably
Yeah.
wouldn't, but you could.
I'm playing this with Puff Cat Peddlers all day long.
Yeah, I like it. Keep giving that Teemo regeneration.
Yep.
Next up, Gluttony. I like the art on this card. I like the pig, the like
Yep.
ghost pig. I like
Same.
that character. But Gluttony, 3 mana fast spell in Shadow Isles. Kill an ally with Last Breath to summon a follower from your deck that costs 1 more. So the good old birthing pod, but narrow. I mean, the thing that people have been pointing out that's quite powerful is you can use this on a Nivea to summon Rekindler immediately. That
That's
seems
dumb.
good. Yeah. It's quite dumb, but it's quite good. But this card, eh.
Yeah, putting it into, I mean, in that specific deck, it slots in fine because you already
Yeah,
play the Chronicler. Is it Chronicler of Ruin? I think so.
yeah,
I don't remember.
but
The kill a dude
yeah,
and summon it. So this
yeah,
could take that spot.
yeah. It can take that spot for sure. It could take that spot if you wanted it to,
Yeah,
for
I think
sure.
you like this feels like a type of card you want to build something specific with. I don't know.
Yeah,
I wish it was like a birthing pot. If like you could search, it'd be so busted. It'd be so broken.
oh, yeah. That would be broken. They probably won't do. Well, they could do search. Just have it
Undying
like
into
pop up
Croc.
like
That's
info.
true. That's true.
Undying into Croc works. The problem is, and Swim pointed this out on their stream today. If you're running this in Undying, you can't run Chronicler because Undying into Chronicler is a non-bow, right? Like that
Yeah,
doesn't
I
work. And then
forgot.
also you can't run a if you're running 4 drops and want to go into 5, you can't run ethereal remitter, which is another
Hmm.
card that's usually played. I mean, you could cut those cards, but then it begs the question, like, is Gluttony better than those cards? I don't know. Croc seems interesting, but yeah, I mean, Undying into Croc is interesting, but again, like, that is an aggressive shell where you're playing a 3 mana card that can't block, a 3 mana 2/2 that doesn't actually do anything without other things, a 3 mana spell which doesn't do anything unless you draw the Undying, and then the Croc, which you need in your deck to get. I don't know. I mean, it's probably a meme. But again, I like this card existing because every time a new thing comes out, it's like, ooh, you can gluttony this into this, and it's actually a really sweet combo, which is cool.
Yeah, I like it. But what I like more, I think this is my favorite card
Ooh.
from all of this, and it's Flurry of Fists, 3 mana burst, grant an ally +1 and quick attack. If it already has it, grant it double attack instead.
Yes. What was the card? Teamer Battle Rage? Is that the name of the card?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing that I thought of was Zed with this, and just like instantly level up your Zed, even if they block the
You
token.
didn't think of Timo first? What's wrong with you?
You could do Teemo. You could use Fiora. You can. I mean, this one, yeah. This is another one, perhaps even more so than Troll Gifts. This one, I mean, it's more expensive than Troll Gifts, which is the disappointing part. But this one is definitely seems quite powerful.
Yeah, I like this a lot. I'm gonna be playing this with a bunch of garbage, uh, as I do. But yeah, I think like I'm gonna make Zed Timo with this because Zed
Ooh,
seems really good with double attack. Draven's pretty good with double attack.
yeah. Riven, you can get quick attack off of her one of her
Hmm.
blades.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I like
mean,
that.
yeah,
Draven, Riven, Flurry of Fists.
yeah.
I wish if it had quick double attack, it gave it quadruple.
True, true. It gets quadra attack. Quadra attack.
However many attacks they have, double that many attacks. It's
Double
like
the
Swole Squirrel.
attacks.
Swole Squirrel, but for attacks.
Oh yes. It just says granted swole squirrel. Just,
I have 16 attacks on this 1/1. Let's go.
that would be furry of fists because get it because the squirrel is furry. Anyone? No. Okay. Canceled. I got it. Got it. I'm getting a text from the FBI saying canceled. Okay, got it. But no, I do like Flurry of Fists. It is a cool card. It's expensive, which is kind of a little bit scary. Obviously, like +1/+0 and quick attack. There is a spell that costs 1 that gives it. But it doesn't have that double attack clause, which I think is the most fun part.
All I want to do is double attack people's Nexus with Timo. That's all I want to do
Yeah, I like it.
in life.
And
My dream has been to give Timo double attack somehow. So
yep. Absolutely. But Saucy, are you ready to hear the next card that everyone in your chat is going to beg you to make decks around?
Which one is that, Blevins?
Powder Pandemonium. You just know people are going to be requesting Powder Pandemonium decks even more than what's the Noxus, the 3/2 that for some reason everyone wants it to be built around.
Oh yeah, the
3
something.
mana
Crap,
3/2
Legion
Reckless
Marauder.
Legion Marauder, yeah. But Powder Pandemonium, 4 mana slow spell in Bilgewater. Summon a Powder Monkey and give a random enemy vulnerable this round for each time you've activated Plunder this game. So you're gonna be you're gonna do a little nab, you're gonna do a little pirate aggro, and then top it off with Powder Pandemonium.
Maybe I'll just forget to craft this card. Yeah, it looks really fun. I like this card a lot. I think it's super fun.
This is a type of card that I feel like, and I don't feel this. I get this particular feeling I'm about to describe in Runeterra very, very seldomly, but this card I do feel it. This is a card that would benefit a lot more if it were in Magic the Gathering, and it feels limited because it's in
The board
Runeterra,
space.
because you can only exactly. I can't build a deck of like plunders and plunder every turn and get like 20 of these and win.
Yeah.
It's only ever 4 mana, create 6 powder monkeys, grant or give vulnerable to all of your enemies' units. And that's as good as it ever will be. It's as good as it ever can be, right?
Yeah.
So that's a little like the limiting factor in Runeterra, I think, is actually like a big negative to the coolness of this card. But I mean, this card's probably not super good for competitive, regardless of whether there's a limit or not, right?
Yeah.
Even if this could go outside of the limit, I don't think that would impact the card's playability. It just makes it less cool that you can't.
Yeah, it was so funny because I first started thinking about this card,
Yeah.
and when I was theory crafting decks in my head around it, I was acting as if this was Magic the Gathering,
Yep.
and that was it's exactly what I did. I'm like, oh my gosh, what if my whole deck was just all these plunder effects and all of them, and then I make like 15 of these as the finisher, and I'm like, wait, that doesn't work in this game. Shit.
Yeah, and it's not like the Harrowing where like you can technically get 6 frenzied skitterers, and that is awesome. Like you don't need more than that, right? Like give everything plus give all of them +5 and give all of your opponent's board -6 attack. Like you can't block. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, the like nut draw for Powder Pandemonium is like probably a good value card, right? But the setup is not worth it, and like it's gonna be a no from me, unfortunately.
That's a no. That's an 8.
It's an 8.
Let's talk about I don't love this artwork. Wild Claws, 5 mana, slow spell, Noxus. An ally strikes an enemy. If it has overwhelm, deal excess damage to the enemy nexus.
Okay. Cool. Great. Awesome. Sweet.
So do we want to move on to Molten Breath?
Yeah, I mean Wild Claws, I feel like you're getting what you're getting, right? It's slow. It's like
there's a lot of conditions that it needs to make. If it didn't have the if it has overwhelm tag, this card would be pretty decent.
Yeah.
If it has overwhelm is just like it's so much work.
Yeah, it's like get rid of that, and then I'm still like, okay, this is a budget concerted strike.
It really wants to be fast. This card wants to be fast.
It really wants
so
to be
bad.
fast. Like if it was fast, if it was just like same exact card, but it was fast, you can at least make a comparison to concerted strike, right?
Yeah,
Concerted strike,
do cool combat like stuff.
Yeah, concerted strike, I would still say significantly better than this card, even if this were fast. But at the very least, I can be like, okay, Kato the arm, you block the unit that Kato is pumping. I Wild Claws, hit you for overwhelm, and then hit you for even more overwhelm because I'm doing this during combat, right? And I can
Yep.
actually, do the thing that it feels like this card wants you to be able to do, right? Like that
Yeah,
feels
it feels like a combat trick, but it's just like
it's
it
just
feels like draft removal.
yes, it does. It feels like bad
It,
like
it's like
s-
one of those 7 mana removal cards in Magic that
yeah,
is there specifically just for
5 mana. It's
draft.
3 black, destroy target creature, do set mechanic. That's exactly what this card feels
Yeah.
like at common.
Yep.
It's in like every set of Magic.
Yeah, and you get 15 of them in every pack that
Right.
you open up.
Right. And I or like, yeah, four black, red, destroy target creature, create set token, do set mechanic is
Yep.
another one that's like, yep, there it is. We know that card. We know exactly how to value that card, and it like goes up or down in value depending on how fast or slow the format is. But yeah,
Mhm.
this is if it were fast, it would be a cool one of potentially like a super whirling death, but yeah,
Mhm.
no.
It would at least be one of those cards that people have to think about in combat.
Right, exactly. But unfortunately, you don't. It's slow spell.
Yep. And the art sucks.
Yeah,
Molten Breath is our last card, the new Demacia card.
yeah.
Clearly, it's Dragon Synergy,
Yep.
another slow spell, which everyone knows how I feel about slow spells. I don't like
Hmm.
them. An ally with Fury strikes the 2 weakest enemies.
Yeah, this one at least like it can be a 2 for 1, and
Yeah,
also like it you're using it on you pretty much have to use it on a dragon, right? I don't think there's
yeah.
other unless you I guess technically Victor can get
He's a
Fury.
dragon. He's
Yeah.
a dragon
Oh, right.
enhancement.
Victor is he's a robot dragon. I forgot.
Yep.
Russian robot dragon. Um, like this card can even at slow like can be a pretty big game, right? But it's slow. It's expensive. You need dragons already. It is technically counterable, right? Like you kill the unit in response, or um, yeah, yeah. I'm
You'd
not.
have to. The thing is, I feel like this is competing against that card, Concerted Strike. And do you ever play this
Yep.
instead of Concerted Strike?
Depends. Are you trying to win, or are you trying to play your dragon theme deck? Uh,
Exactly. Because again, this is another card that really wants to be fast.
honestly, if this was fast,
Be
this all of a
sick.
sudden becomes a scary card.
Yeah, it'd be sick,
Yeah, I'm
especially
wondering.
on defense.
Yeah, it's actually like,
Turns into a judgment at that point.
yeah, I'm almost kind of like make this fast and make judgment slow. That's what that's what I want.
Oof. This judgment seems really good since it needs to be in combat.
Yeah. Oh, I understand what I'm saying. I just hate that card.
Yeah, I know
Especially when
you
my
do.
opponent plays it for 7 mana off of a moon silver that I didn't play around and
That's
completely
me.
blows me out, even though
That's
they only
me.
had 7 mana and I was
I
playing
always
around
do
it the whole
that.
time. But then they got me
I
with the
always
moon
do
silver.
that.
Yeah, I got.
I always nab your judgments.
And yep. And when that happened, so this actually did happen to me on ladder. It was a while ago, but um opponent, I'm playing around judgment this whole time. They finally tap below. I go to attack for lethal. They have 7 mana. They play the moon silver into judgment, and I just go, Boulevard! Why are you telling people on stream to play judgment and there's the stupid one of judgment in their Demacia decks? I was so mad.
Mhm,
I cursed the
mhm.
name Boulevard. But anyways, those are the new cards.
Yeah,
Of course, alongside of Felios and his 58 weapon combinations.
it's 33,610 weapons.
Yes. Um, Overall, what are you thinking about the expansion of cards as it's as a release? Do you want to see more of this type of thing? Do you like the regular sets better? The KDA better?
I'm one who just likes there to be more stuff.
Uh-huh.
As someone who's primarily a deck builder and I mostly get my fun out of creating decks, Like, I just like having more tools to build with.
Mhm.
Even if a lot of these cards aren't quote unquote like super strong, it's just having more things to do
Yeah.
keeps me entertained and keeps me from getting bored, especially when I play this game so much.
Right.
So I like that. I love, I've always been a fan of the smaller set releases instead of like the big MTG style, like 500 cards.
Mhm.
This is like, 100 cards or whatever they do. Um, I like that. And I think these little mini in between releases are cool. Um, yeah. And we have Sherma coming up soon too. Sherma
Sherma.
Ultra.
Yeah, I honestly really like this type of expansion. Like I talked about it when KDA came out. It's like you don't need to add. It's like kind of diminishing returns after a certain point. Like,
Mhm.
what is the? I mean, we'll see the impact of this expansion on the meta, but like, what is the difference in the meta between this and a full expansion? Like a
Yeah.
full, like how much difference is it? I bet card for card, this will be more impactful than the entirety of a whole set, just like in terms of like card for
Seeing card,
card,
seeing
right?
play.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see
Yeah,
though.
it reminds me, did you ever, I can't remember I'm not gonna remember the name, but it happened in Hearthstone where they added one card just mid-set for no reason seemingly. It was like before a set, they just added one of the cards into the rotation, and the
Yes, I
card
do
wasn't
remember it.
good.
It was
It was the double adapt minion, I think?
oh, they did that, and then they also didn't they do one with like BlizzCon? They gave out one of the cards, like the legendary or
Yeah.
something.
But they've done it a couple times, and just by adding one card, all of a sudden it becomes a meta deck, whether it's good or not. Like people put that into something and make it work,
Right.
and that gets played just because it's a new thing.
Yeah.
This is going to have that effect. I haven't been able to play yet today, but I'm about to after we're done recording, and I can assure I'll be seeing a lot of this kind of crap.
Yeah. Yeah. Overall, I like it a lot. A lot of people are really big on Aphelios as well, which we talked about on the last episode a little bit, so we don't need to go too much into it. But we do have. I did play a little bit of Aphelios earlier today in the new lab, which we'll talk about as well. But basically, my TLDR for Aphelios was like I was playing the card, had it in play, like saw everything, and was still like, I'm not 100% sure how this is gonna work.
Yeah, which isn't he kind of like that in League? Doesn't he just
Yes,
have crazy
kind of.
stuff like that?
He has so I actually played him in League when he first came out. He basically his weapon changes, which is his spell, and he can have two of them out at a time, and you can have a primary one and a secondary one. The primary one has an ability, and it is impacted by your secondary weapon, and they each have ammo. This is not a meme, by the way. I'm not making this up as I go. This is actually how it works. So, like, if you have a shooty gun, which is calibrum, we came up with new names for all the
Yep, it's shooty
cards.
gun.
Shooty gun, you can have in League, you can have any of the other weapons. Um you can have Viper Tooth, you can have Warglaze of Azeroth, you can have Fish Guts, or you can have Uvula as any of the, and those are Severum, Crescendum, Infernum, and Gravitum for those of you who are trying to take
You
us a little
smooth
bit
brains.
seriously. Sorry. You can have any of those paired with any of them, right? And like Calibrum, I don't remember. I think it like shoots out. It like just shoots a damage bolt essentially. But like depending on which of the other weapons you have as your secondary, it will either do like extra damage, or it will slow, or it will like root them or something like that. I don't know if that's exactly what they do, but like it is actually excessively complicated and complex. And like I'm sure if you're really good and know the best things to do, you can really get the best of Aphelios. But yeah, he's a handful to say the least.
Yep, I'm excited to try him. I will be
Yeah.
making him prismatic, whether he's good or not. So
I mean, you get a lot of value, right? You're getting the champion spell and 5 additional cards, all prismatic did if you prismatic him. So
mhm.
that's just value, honestly. Um, but yeah, I think Aphelios is cool, and I think he'll certainly see a decent amount of play. I think he's good, like regardless of the complexity, he's a fine card, and he'll only get better as folks get more akin to his play style and like setting up and using the weapons properly.
Mhm. Truth. Trudeau.
Of course, with the new expansion, we got some cosmetics. There's a new specific guardian, Saucy, that I know you are probably, I'm assuming, a pretty
It's
big
sweet.
fan of.
Yep. Like it's Lunar Beast is this name, right?
Well, Lunar Beast is one that I'm a fan of, but I'm talking about the other one.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He's cool.
Nice.
The Hex Tech boy.
T Hex. Boo. T
Yep.
Hex. Boo.
T Hex skin
Boo.
is great.
I
Yeah,
did.
there's a bunch of stuff. You can check the patch notes. Just play Runeterra's website under news. It's there because there's also a smattering of balance changes as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, there's just so much.
Yeah. And we won't go through everything because there is a ton, but there's a
But the one that matters, that the most important one that's going to impact the game the most, Homecoming got a buff going
yes.
from 5 mana to 4 mana. There we go.
It did. Yeah, they buffed some interesting cards, but one thing I will note is they talked about card updates in general, and they mentioned specifically, I think, yeah, they mentioned specifically that they're going to focus more on newly released cards in general,
Yeah.
but not necessarily going to not look at old cards, but just a bigger focus on the new cards and making sure that they are playable essentially. So, which is really cool, right? Like if your favorite champion comes out and you're like, oh man, they stink. They just came out and they stink. It's like, well, no, well, they'll look at them at least, so which is
Yep.
cool. But
Yeah,
Misfortune
we
got
got.
a small nerf.
Yep.
Victor got a pretty nice buff. He's now making
Mhm.
more hex cores, and he right? Does he now? Yeah, he requires fewer cards to level up, which is
Yep.
cool.
And he makes upgrade when you play him.
Yep, yep. Play and now round start, which is awesome. Grand Plaza lost the health on the buff, so now it's just +1/+0 in Challenger, which I think is which is really nice. It
Mhm.
probably still like enables a lot of those like decks that kind of came out of the woodwork because of Grand Plaza, but now isn't just like the most valuable thing you can be doing
Yep.
always. It's like just more of a niche thing, which I think is a better design for the card, right? Like
Yep.
you didn't need this in every single Demacia deck. It's like, no, yeah, you kind of have to build around it more because it's not just the best thing ever. Our boy War
And
Chef's coming back as a 2/2 now instead of a 1/3. Might be seeing
some more chefing.
might be seeing a little more chefaroo. I like that.
Green Glade Elder did some bench pressing, did a little working out,
Yeah.
became a 3/1 instead of a
Yeah,
1/1.
didn't do leg day though. Still
Nope.
one health.
All upper body. Captain Farron, this is a change that I'm really happy about and I've been wanting for a long time. He
Yeah.
makes 2 decimates now instead of 3 decimates, which is cool because he's still good, but you don't just automatically have no way to come back and win if it's played.
Yeah. I think I don't think that this is going to actually impact the power of Captain Farron all that much. To be completely honest, I think it will do the thing of card nerf, card bad, me no play card anymore, which is going to happen because that's just how people work. And it certainly is like, okay, well, now Captain Farron doesn't just in and of himself represent 20 damage with his attack and the 3 decimates. You do a little bit more work.
Mhm.
Um but the difference between 2 and 3 decimates I Captain Farron is still good is what
He's still
is what I'll
very good.
say.
He's still very good.
Yeah.
There are a lot of games where the 3rd decimate is the only reason I can't win
Yeah.
so often, and that's usually because I am playing, like, slower control decks,
Right.
and
Yeah, that's true.
with a lot of healing. And I'm like, well, I can heal through too. That third decimate, I literally cannot do anything
Right.
about.
Yeah, it gives you more agency, or at least like more of a hope to win the game, right? Because it's
And
like,
it's just like if the like the ability is more in line with the card itself. Like 12 like spell damage in hand and also being an 8/8 overwhelm is
yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
It's just insane.
yep,
And it makes more sense. It's 8/8/8/8/8.
yeah. Which means that
Symmetrical.
decimate should cost 4 mana, because then it would be 8 mana, 8
I
damage,
always
8.
think that card costs 4 mana for some reason. Feels like it should.
Honestly, decimate should do
It should
uh
have double strike.
decimate should only do 2 damage, because that means it does 1/10 of your life, right?
Mhm.
Decimate. I feel like it was Charmer that
It's
pointed
called
that out.
Decim 8 also.
Oh, yes, it's true. It's not Decim 12, it's Decim 8.
Yeah.
True.
So
We're gonna
take
get
that.
canceled.
Checkmate,
Check
nerds.
checkmate, not check 12. Okay, I'm done. I've thoroughly beaten that dead horse. Riven got a buff, Blade of the Exile, which is the fully completed blade. Now only costs 1 mana. Still a slow spell, which is lame, but fine. But 1 mana is certainly better.
Yep.
And does grant quick attack, which means our Fury of the Fists means it can be double attack. Pretty good. Um, Blade Squire also getting what I would consider a pretty big buff,
Yeah.
becoming a 2/1 instead of a 1/2. These actually, I said we weren't going to go over all the changes, but I guess we didn't
There's
go
two
in
more.
depth into all the changes. We just kind of
Yeah.
glossed over some of them. Hush and Pale Cascade, possibly the two biggest nerfs here, in terms of impact on metas. Hush now 3 mana, period. It is no side grade here, no nerf plus a little bit of a buff, just a straight nerf here to 3 mana. Impale Cascade now also straight nerf, only giving +1/+1 instead of +2/+1. I mean, both of these cards were just like very, very prevalent from the inception of the cards, right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I talked about it on my like review video, but I feel any card that is an auto include without any consideration in every single deck of a region, a three of,
yeah,
could just have like is something that could be changed. I feel like if there's no deck building decisions
yeah,
in the region is you just play this three no matter what, it's like, okay, maybe we change it a bit. That's just how I feel.
yeah. Hush is also another like very divisive card. It on the one hand gives you somewhat of an out to essentially anything, but also it's literally a meme where people are talking about something cool, and then chat's just like, but Hush exists, Keck W.
Yeah.
Which I think is certainly silly, but I understand the sentiment, right? It's like,
Dies to Doomblade.
it's kind of like Dies to Doomblade, um, a little bit, but Hush at 2 mana was certainly efficient.
Yeah.
Now I mean, it's a technically a 50% increase in mana, which certainly is nothing to scoff at, and this doesn't have the weird replicating effect that the old Hush had, so.
Yeah. The good old days, as you
The
will.
good, the good. Oh.
The
Oh god, that card was.
and made Lee Sin okay.
Yeah, I mean that's been kind of the debate here. I've seen going around the last couple of days of like, does this nerf to Hush make Lee Sin better or worse? Because it's a card that is used in Lee Sin frequently, but it's also the arguably the best card against Lee Sin.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't actually know. My gut is saying that it's probably better for Lee Sin. For the Hush specifically, Pale Cascade is certainly a big hit to Lee Sin as well. Because that card was Pale Cascade was just the nutter butters for Lee Sin in general.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so those are our changes. Overall good. We got the cosmetics, which are cool. The only other thing, which is actually low key, in my opinion, the coolest thing of the new patch is the new lab, which I didn't think I'd be saying, but it's Lab of Legends. And if you've played Hearthstone, not Tavern Brawl, the are they called Hearthstone Expeditions? One, it's basically the roguelike where you start with the deck and then build it
Oh,
out. What are they called
I
in
forgot what they're
Hearthstone?
called.
I don't remember, but I always
Adventure?
liked no, the adventures were like the
Oh, those are the other single player mode.
yeah, the adventures were like the original way that they were releasing cards. But
Oh, so it's like mini Slay the Spire?
it's kind of like mini Slay the Spire ish, where like you're playing against
Okay.
a thing, then you like can add cards, or they have like these cool things that are like items for champions. So like the one I only played like 2 games with it, but like after the second one, I got an option of 2 champs and then 3 items, and they like have rarity. So there's like rare item, common item, and I'm assuming there's more rare ones, but I don't know. I only saw rare. Um, where like I pick a Felios and then I pick an item. So like my Felios now has cost 1 less. So now my Aphelios all my Aphelioses are 2 mana now because it has the
Interesting.
cost 1 less item equipped to it. So like I don't know all the items and stuff. I don't know all the combinations. Honestly, I don't want to know. I just kind of want to discover them, which I think will be fun. And yeah, I mean, very much just single player, casual experience, but like I love this type of stuff. This is the type of stuff where I will be happy to play it on my iPad while I'm in bed, right? Like where I
Nice.
don't necessarily want to play a ranked game on my iPad in bed because my Wi-Fi connection is not good in my
Yeah.
bedroom. And like if I disconnect, I will go to bed upset, right? Because I lost
Yeah.
LP. Where this is like, whatever, who cares? It's single player, it doesn't matter. I'm super excited about this for this game mode specifically, and also just like the fact that they're building this stuff out is just really cool to me.
Yep. I have not played it yet, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I
I did
think.
not know it. I did not know it was like that. And now
Oh yeah, yeah,
I'm so ready.
yeah, I think and like the what was the other the like the jungle lab I thought was cool, but that was
Yeah.
PvP. Like if they take some of these, like this is a type of thing like it feels like its own game mode, and in Hearthstone it kind of is. Like
Hmm.
if this, I don't know how fleshed out this is, but like if this is fleshed out, or they plan on fleshing it out more, or like doing like little mini expansions in this Lab of Legends, like that's
Yeah.
really cool.
It could be just a whole nother game mode. Absolutely.
Yeah, and Saucy, we see people all the time that are like, "Hey, are there expedition content creators? Are there like other game mode content creators?" And it's kind of like, well, you've got people like Saucy who play decks that they like and play fun decks, or you have like ultra hyper competitive tryhard,
Yeah.
and that's basically it, right? Like there's
Yeah.
those are the 2 types of content right now, because those are the 2 types of way you can play the game, right? It's like
Yeah. You play constructed, and
you play
that's what it is.
constructed, and like expedition is there, and like I've had fun playing it, but like it gets old kind of. It's
Yeah.
just not like I don't know. I don't really know what the inherent issue with expedition is for me, but it's just it's fun every once. I like to play it when new cards come out, and then I'll play it like for a day, and then I'm like, let's go back to constructed. But this is a game mode I can see myself playing, because like there's I think 8 or 10 champions, and you get an icon every time you beat it with. There's 8 different icons you can get for the different
Oh,
champions you
really?
beat it with. Yeah, you actually get stuff. So
Ooh.
yeah, I'm excited
Neat.
about this. I'm low key. This is my favorite thing about the new expansion, perhaps besides the cards, because new cards are always cool.
Yeah. Man, if they so the a game I'm excited for that's coming out that I wasn't originally, but I am really now that I'm following. Have you been following the Bazaar?
I have been on the Bazaar train since
Okay.
literally day one.
So I wasn't
I am a
before
backer
until I
of the
realized
Bazaar.
that it was like a deck builder.
Yeah,
And if they, I mean, if we had like a mini, like Slay the Spire as a game, it
it's
still
so
has a
good.
big community on Twitch.
Oh,
So,
it's a
like you
great
were saying,
game.
I could see if they flesh this out and make it a full game mode, like all of Battlegrounds is to Hearthstone, like
Yeah,
that would be amazing. And I like give me more reasons to not leave the client. Like if like keep
yeah.
your players in the client.
Runeterra, shut up and take my money.
Seriously though.
I mean, they already do, right? I literally
Yeah.
bought all of the cosmetics. Yes, for those keeping track, I had to buy the stupid T Hex one because it was in the bundle. I couldn't not, so I technically
Yes.
own a T
Uh-huh.
Hex
He's in
Guardian.
your
It's a new
collection.
one. Yeah,
T-Hex.
yeah. I'm
Mm.
maulding about it though.
That
I'm gonna send in
T-Hex.
a report and see if they can remove it from my client because I don't want it.
T-Hexy Wexy.
T Hexy Wexy.
I love him.
But I'm trying to think. Is there anything else that we're missing, Saucy? That's
Probably, but
we
that's
talked
just how
about a
it
lot of
goes.
stuff. I think that's about. Oh, there was. I'm trying to see. I asked earlier. So I asked earlier if anyone had hot takes in the Discord for this new expansion, and I'm gonna just go through a couple of these. I don't know if anyone
Okay.
actually gave me a hot take though. I think people just ask questions, even though I specifically was asking for hot takes. We got Twin Sons asking, is Monkey Pandemonium the hottest new toy? Kind of already talked about that one. That's a no for me. Distress test. Timashi, our new patron, asked, "Does stress testing actually make it into TFIs?" We also kind of talked about that. Eh, eh,
Yeah,
eh.
we'll see. I'm not sold.
Victor Timo will. Oh man, I'm gonna try to. This looks like a French name. Clématicieux fécal. Clématicieux fécal. That's as good as I've got. Let me know if you're listening to this. Let me know how that pronunciation was. Victor Timo will be a thing now? Question mark. I mean, Saucy, have you done Victor
Not a
Timo?
chance. Not a chance.
No.
Do you know what that person's name means in French?
Oh God, no, I don't.
Fecal air conditioner. So
Thanks. I hate it. Uh, I now understand why you were laughing when I was trying to pronounce it
yes,
correctly.
I
uh,
know a little French.
I
I would
mean,
be a bad Canadian if I didn't.
Fecal, that makes sense. I guess Clementicieux, yeah. Well, thanks. I hate it. Okay, okay. I actually do have a good. I actually do have. We do actually do have a hot take here from Leovold Flashbringer. That probably
Okay.
means something bad in French now too. Their hot take is Gluttony is a really solid card. Sacrifice a Nevia, summon Rekindler. We talked about that. Hell, it's even a good response to removal on things like Grizzled Ranger for a Radiant Guardian. Okay. All
I like it.
right. I like it. I like it. We'll
Yeah,
have to
it's
see.
I love these type of cards. I mean, I tried to make the stupid landmark that does this work for so long, Vaults of Helia.
Yeah.
Uh, so I mean, I'm going to be using it in, to no one's surprise, Dragon decks to try and cheat out Cadragrin.
Yes. I like it. Wait,
And
is there an 8 cost last breath card?
I thought there was. Maybe I'm
There might
wrong.
be. I'm trying to think if there is.
I thought
Uh
there was for some reason. I'll look.
8 I don't know.
I
Oh,
don't know
hold on.
anything.
We've got one more hot take in chat
Okay, say the
from
hot take.
Mr. Emotional. Stress testing is an instant 3 of IMO. Drazoth was saying that card allowed us to flip TF in one turn without pick a card. It also allows you to play pick a card on turn 3 to 4 just for value. I mean, I like it. Mo has certainly been a big pioneer of the TF Fizz deck. I played a decent amount of it. My initial thought was maybe, but if we have an instant 3 of IMO, I'm at least going to try it. So definitely like it. And again, everyone, thank you all for listening. If you want to
Yeah.
get your hot takes and whatnot in for these episodes, head over to discord.me/Runeterrable radio. I know we've kind of changed up the pacing of the show a little bit just because we're doing episodes on sort of patch cycles a little bit more. So keep an eye and an ear out. We're going to do episodes when we've got stuff to talk about and or folks to talk with, so we can certainly set up some guests and whatnot. But just keep an eye and an ear out for that. But Saucy, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on my website, saucy.live. That is my website, and all my stuff is on there. Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, all that good stuff.
Oh, yeah. You can find me on the internet as well at @the_Blevins on Twitter. You can also find me casting Runeterra tournaments on Fridays over at the Giant Slayer LOR channel, twitch.tv/Giant Slayer LOR. Give that channel a follow. We've got a lot of stuff coming up on that channel that you are not going to want to miss. Can't give out details yet, but just saying,
Good stuff.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
It's a first.
It's a first. And also at Giant Slayer LOR on Twitter for all of your Giant Slayer competitive Legends of Runeterra needs. But that is going to be it. Thank you, everyone, again for listening and for watching live. But for Saucy, I am Blevins, and we're going to be back at some point in time to talk about some more Legends of Runeterra.
It's a first.